Hello and welcome, I am that James guy, and this is our second Hearts of Iron 4 DLC Dev Diary reaction analysis-y sort of video, and today we're looking at the latest Dev Diary, which is all about Poland. It is a Polish Focus Tree Rework, essentially, and there's been a few interesting things I've noticed in here, and I have a few thoughts, so first of all, we will jump in and have a straight look at this picture, which you can't read, which is great. However, there are a few things we can learn based on colours. We already see all of what these are based on the pictures further in, and we can judge on the top of these three that this middle one here has a red tip, looks like a red star, is most likely the communist branch and is of moderate length. So that leaves this one to be fascist, or this one, and then also one of these will be non-aligned. I'm going to go out on the assumption that this is the fascist one, as it's slightly more orange and golden coloured, and more like the eagle. For a lot of the other sort of fascist focus colour ranges, which looks like it's quite long, with another branch down here, I'm going to guess Go Your Own Way, and also join, or Go Your Own Way, join the Axis. And then over here we have the other branch, which is the longest. If I had to guess, I reckon it's going to be a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth branch, but I guess we'll find out next week. I believe they're doing the follow-up. So let's take these branches one at a time, and first of all look at the industry branch. So just by looking at these things here, we're going to get 4-year plan, which I'm guessing will work fairly similarly to how it does now. Fill the railway gaps, some free railroads to connect up, your free tech slot, which is very early for a tech slot, so that's very strong for them. Central region strategy, we know that's the generic construction focus buff, so maybe it gives a national spirit, or free factories, or free build slots. Free civs, free mills. I believe that one is already in game. I'm actually loading into a Poland game at the moment, just to play compare and contrast, as it were. And then free steel resources, a second tech slot, 1, 2, 3, 4 in, so that's really quick to get 2 tech slots. Agrarian reform, now I believe that is to do with the new Polish uprising thing, and then some more factories once you've developed Upper Silesia and that. A national defence fund gives you this crazy spirit for 720 days. Central defence of Poland, which was here, gives you cheaper guns and cheaper forts for 720 days, or well, faster forts specifically. Now there's lots of decision-based missions that they talk about in here, and we're going to come back to those, because we're going to actually look at overview of the branches first of all. So the next branch they're showing is this Danzig branch, which doubles as the Navy branch, essentially, and you can either clamp down on Danzig, ban the Nazis, integrate dockyards, or pause that, commerce raiding, Dragon Ambition, Guardian of the Baltic, fairly generic stuff, or you can do Polish shipbuilding in Guinea, pronunciation not guaranteed folks, expand Guinea, so on and so forth. This relates to the new embargoed economy mechanics, which we're going to, again, back to. Then the next branch they showed off is this Plan East-West and Army branch. Looking at the Army branch, there's not a lot in here, other than the fact that there is a new focus here called Adaptive Designs, which has placeholder focus tree art. My assumption here is that this is possibly something to do with the possibility of a tank designer, and that is why that is question marked and hasn't been done on the art yet. Also, you've got anti-blitz vehicles, cruiser tank experiment, study foreign tanks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicle-based research buffs. Now, currently in the Polish focus tree, you have study foreign tanks and cruiser tank experiments, which gives 2 research buffs for that, and the motorized research buff there. So if we assume these work essentially the same, this must give something interesting, this must give something interesting. It's quite... who knows? Now, Plan East-West is then you sort of defend against the Soviets, defend against the Germans. I guess it depends on which political branch you do, but, you know, anti-air, soldiers, or generic things, really. All sort of good stuff. And then we have the politics branch. Before we dive into the politics branch, we're going to just jump back. I know this is a bit of a backwards and forwards way of doing it, but we're going to go take a look at some of these missions, because now we're effectively looking at all the politics stuff combined. So this peasant strike, you have to get rid of this within the first year and do agrarian reform. Now that's 1, 2, 3 focuses if you rush it, 7, 14, 210 days. These are all 70-day focuses. That means we've got room, essentially, for 1 more focus that is 70 days, or 2 more focuses if any of them are 35 days. So, potentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be a very, very good start, I think, and deals with this situation for you. Essentially, peasant strike, bad, don't want it. Now, the downside is that also, well, sorry, the upside is you also have access to the National Defence Fund really easily now, and we know that that is a 70-day focus, so that could be very useful now, just hang around and use it once you go up in economy law. Now, once the peasant strike happens, I'm guessing, you get this bit, Phase 2, which is the peasant strike has gone quite badly, and you need to start pressing buttons, basically, to start fixing it. If you fail to do that, you end up with the problems. The big problems. Essentially, you get done, is how I read this. So I think to just make sure safety first, doing those first will be a smart play. Then that brings us back to this Danzig thing, whereby Danzig is a free city, it's demilitarized, you start with this embargoed economy trade law, which hurts, frankly. And to fix this, you have to have completed Expand Gdynia Seaport, this one, or Integrate Danzig Industries, this one, which is 1, 2, 3 focuses. Either way you do it, possibly 4 if you have to also do Study British Ship Designs. And if you try and seize control of Danzig, you have to go through some more political power things. So you're going to be done on political power, which is gonna hurt. There's lots of this, and if you fail, they uprise, you have to fight them. Should be not too much of a problem. Once you've done that, you get the Navy branch. It's fine. And then there's the Army branch. An interesting thing we notice in this picture up here, though, infrastructure is out of 5, as I posited in my previous video, and also railroads seem to be out of 1. Interestingly, I wonder if that means we can upgrade the amount of railroads by tech. And also, coastal forts are missing from this menu, which is mightily interesting. I don't believe Danzig starts with any coastal forts. Let's take a look. It'd be unlikely if they did. But as you can see, they've essentially removed some of these and made it slightly wider and changed the way this looks, so that's interesting. Right. So next branch to look at is going to be the politics branch, this mighty mess, where you also have, you do the history branch, and then you also have this split into sort of, you know, Baltic security, Polish revanchism, aligned with the West. So it'll be interesting to see how they play into the old history branches themselves. But the point of this is you deal with the sanitation left, the sanitation right, and the castle, and you work through dealing with your different spirits and your political buttons that we saw up here in this one. Polish sanitation government, sideline left, sideline right, PP cost spends. All the fun of managing your politics, much more like the Bulgaria or the Turkish focus trees that we've seen with Battle for the Bosphorus, so it will be interesting. However, this Between the Seas concept, the Intermarium, the Turbo Alliance, essentially just shuts down Germany, is over for them. So we haven't learned a great deal about the DLC in this tree, and in the initial dev diary post, but it looks fun, it looks interesting, it might be fun in single player, a lot like the Greece focus tree is. but I don't see it being particularly relevant in multiplayer for obvious reasons. Poland dies. And to round out the video, we're going to look at dev-only responses and have a look. One thing my viewers noticed when we ran over this live, actually, was that this is the Austro-Hungarian-Austrian Empire flag. However, it's not. It's actually the flag of Krabitia? No? It's mentioned down here. It's a duchy or some such thing in Poland. So it's a releasable tag. A lot of these focuses are 35 days, particularly sanitation. However, I still think there's a lot of focuses. One of my friends said there was 135 focuses in the historical branch, and that is a lot, even if they are mostly 35 days. So yeah, Kashubia, that's it. There we go. And these essentially guarantee access to them joining the Międzymorze for 10 PP. Very cheap, very easy to get them involved. The Polish Peasants Union looks, you know, as you'd expect it to be. Low stab, high variance of support, various sort of things. Some new generals, that's good news. Lithuania can get Vilna without warfare. Thus supporting sanitation left turn you democratic, also is the Peasants Union playable. Stay tuned next week. That implies to me that the Polish Union, as I reckon the communist branch for Poland, has you becoming the Polish Peasants Union, a lot like the communist branch for the Spanish Focus Tree. That's my expectation there. And that seems to essentially be it. There doesn't appear to be a lot of new stuff in here that is interesting. No rework to Polish states right now. That's a shame. Alt history stuff for Poland confirmed for next week. Anything else interested? Nope, nothing else interesting. So, Poland, getting a focus tree update, looks pretty chunky. I'll be interested to see how the alt history stuff works next week. In the meantime, we've learned a few things. 1, further hints towards the tank designer. 2, railway infrastructure works on a 1 out of 1 basis. 3, roads are now out of 5. And finally, 4, no one really is that interested in a Poland focus tree for multiplayer. For single player, it will be fun. So, there you go. Poland focus tree. I'll catch you next week, where we'll be looking into the alt history stuff with the Poland focus tree and seeing how that integrates itself into Hearts of Iron 4. In the meantime, I've been that James guy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, comment. If you think anything's missing from the Polish focus tree that we've seen, do let me know. If there's anything that I've missed, then please tell me in the comments down below. And also do like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the other side.